Welcome to the JJVirgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and 4-time New York Times bestselling author, JJVirgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way. Hey. Great guest today. As always, I know I get the best guests. This is a longtime friend of mine who is just doing some amazing work in the world of women's hormones and menopause, but especially beyond menopause, going into sexual health, libido, etc. So we are going to be talking about menopause, but we're also going to be talking about what you can do if your libido is wavering, whatever it would be doing, not supporting you. And then we're going to be talking about Dr. Anna Cabeca's favorite hormone of all, something that you can get to fire up quickly that will make you happy, calm, peaceful, and connected. So we're going to be sharing all that. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Anna Cabeca. Again, long-term friend. I think I've known her now 15 years. She is an expert in women's health, menopause, and sexual health, and an Emory-trained board-certified gynecologist and obstetrician, also board-certified in integrative medicine, anti-aging, and regenerative medicine. She's actually she is the reason when my son was hit and he was in the hospital, she's the one who gave me the heads up about progesterone therapy because the researcher who had discovered it was at Emory. So she'd known all about it. So she helped me out with that piece of the puzzle there. She's got an online program called Magic Menopause. She's also got another online program, which I love, called Sexual CPR. She created a very cool greens product to help with women's hormone balance called Mighty Maca. And she also has a cream, and you're going to hear what we did with this cream, pretty funny, called Julva. I'm going to let her tell you all about that, and I'm betting it will become one of your faves as well. You're going to learn how to get that for free at the show notes at jjvirgin.com/Dr. Cabeca, and you spell her last name Cabeca, Dr. Cabeca, and that's just Dr. Cabeca. All righty. Welcome to the show, Dr. Anna Cabeca. It is about time we got you on.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, I've known you, I don't know, 15 years, maybe? Long time.
A
long time. And you just keep looking younger and better. I know it's because of some of the stuff you're going to share with us today. So let's dive in with first how you became such an expert in menopause, because it's kind of a crazy journey.
Oh, it's been quite a roller coaster. And I will say I'm an expert in menopause because I've been there 3 times, right? So, going back a little bit in my journey is, as you well know, I was diagnosed with premature ovarian failure and early menopause at age 39. And at that time, it was crazy. I was told I would never be able to have another child. And that was it. My only hope was egg donation. And I was just completely in premature menopause. My lab values indicated it. My body indicated it. And this was post, a personal journey, post our, traumatic beginnings with the loss of my son, Garrett, who, passed away in a tragic accident. And from there, it was thrown into menopause. And when we talk about the effects of stress, whether they're acute or long-term, there's such an impact physiologically, emotionally, and spiritually. So that was the first start of my journey. But again, determined not to give up hope, holding on to hope, and being like you, a mama warrior, really set out on this worldwide journey. And it took me a year around the world. And the results were restoring my fertility, restoring my health. And now, as you know, have my beautiful daughter, Ava Marie, the miracle baby, the child I was told I would never have, and reversed menopause at that time in my life for quite a long time after. And then also just recognizing that the body's really amazing capacity to heal. And when we get to the underlying causes, the root causes, we can turn that around in such an impactful way. So I know your listeners have been struggling with many issues related to stress or physiologic, feeling like your body can sometimes be a foreigner to yourself, that just maintaining that hope and prayer and doing the right next steps can really turn that around. So that was the beginning of my journey. And since then, it's just been, I always say God has to teach me the hard way. I've got to learn. I've got to learn by going through it. So in order to really come up with the skills and practices, products and programs that really have helped.
Yeah, but we all benefit. So
yeah.
You turned a really challenging thing into a really good thing. And I always tell people, like, as you're getting ready to go into menopause, don't have a massive life stressor at the same time. Because that's what happened when, as I was starting to go through, Grant got hit by the car. So it's like, oh my gosh. So let's talk about everything that starts to happen, without having a traumatic life event, but just the hormonal changes that start to happen over time that then, wreak havoc on us.
Right. And I think, just talking about the traumatic things that can happen through menopause, like I'm in my 50s with a 10-year-old, right? So talk about raising a young child through menopause. Whew, we've got our challenges there. But also what you said is you went through a traumatic event during, Grant's accident, and with that menopausal journey, I mean, that certainly accelerates the process. But one other thing that women need to know if they are going through a challenging menopause is that early childhood trauma, early traumatic injuries, early, PTSD makes this period of perimenopause a lot harder, makes us feel burnout more, have more hot flashes, have more mood swings, and all those things. So while those are part of the journey, they don't have to be. And it's really empowering, especially for people who are having a difficult time at this stage, to know that you can reverse it. So no matter what you're going through or have gone through, as we get to the understand, to balance those hormones back to, healthy physiologic state.
So let's talk about what are some of the big key signs that stuff? I mean, we all kind of know them because we feel them, but maybe some of them are things we aren't thinking about that are signs that your hormones are starting to shift. Yeah,
definitely. The forgetfulness, moodiness. I always tell my clients, if you only hate your husband 2 weeks out of the month, it's probably your hormones, not your husband. So that feeling of burnout, disconnect, those, fat gain, difficulty losing weight, the hair loss, changes in your skin, loss of elasticity of our skin. All of those are early signs, are definitely signs of perimenopause, not to mention the vaginal dryness, discomfort, loss of orgasm and pleasure. That's my area of expertise. So sexual health, pleasure, maintaining a healthy pelvic floor. So those are symptoms that can come up that cause a real disconnect in our relationships, because it's something I tell clients, if you have pain every time you have sex, why would you want to have sex? So understanding that we have to consider our vaginal health, vulvar health, the same way we have to do our, wrinkles around our eyes, our facial youthfulness. We want to maintain our pelvic floor youthfulness. And sometimes we don't consider that loss of pleasure, orgasm as a sign of imbalanced hormones, but it is.
And what age does this all start to shift for people?
We'd like to say that, average age of menopause is 50 to 52, but it's plus or minus 15 years. Now I'm seeing women in their mid 30s to late 30s suffering with these symptoms early on. And that has to do with the endocrine disruptors, hormone mimickers, the toxins in our environment that are pushing us into this imbalanced state a lot sooner. And it can feel like estrogen dominant symptoms at first because of the, declining levels of progesterone and also the exogenous estrogens that we're getting from our environment.
So someone starts to have these symptoms, and I know exactly what happens because I hear about it all the time from my community on Facebook Live. They start to have these symptoms. They go to a standard doc, standard medical care, and then they get a birth control pill, and Prozac.
Right. Yeah. And believe me, I'm a gynecologist. I've been there. And that's one of the things that, we notice the early 30s. We start to have symptoms of PMS, breakthrough bleeding, maybe more uncomfortable periods, but definitely PMS is an issue. So we're like, okay, well, let's put you on Prozac because certainly that's what your body is deficient in. And we need to, get that symptom taken care of. So we treat that symptom and lo and behold, you come back in. Well, I'm still having breakthrough bleeding. I'm still having heavy cramping with my periods that are even more heavy. And, so, okay, let's put you on the birth control pill. Let's just knock out that symptom. And then before you know it, well, I'm still having issues. Now ovarian cysts, fibroids are growing. Okay, well, I'm a gynecologist. Let me just take out your uterus. And since you're over 35, heck, let me just take out your ovary so you never have to deal with the effect of ovarian cancer because, this definitely will get rid of that risk. And so by then you're like, okay, now we still haven't addressed any of the causes to the symptoms. Your uterus is a victim of the hormone imbalance as well as your moods. And so we've never addressed the causes. So the next thing we're done with you. We're referring you to a psychiatrist and a divorce attorney, right? I mean, it's not a joke.
Oh my gosh. But it is amazing. You do feel like, the best description of how this all feels is you just feel like you want to unzip your body and crawl out and leave.
Right. And it's the opposite that we need to do. Like think of the caterpillar, right? We need to cocoon and really rest and restore during this time. But one of the things that, JJ, you were so influential in my practice because as we worked together through our functional medicine, one of the things that I did early on, starting out, when we first met, I would put patients through a functional detoxification program. So develop my detox program. So when they come in with those symptoms, they'd come in with those symptoms. I detox them, put them on bioidentical progesterone, my Mighty Maca, some greens, really work to alkalinize them. And lo and behold, when they came back in for their lab results, I wasn't scheduling them for surgery anymore. They were 90% better. So that was just a huge eye opener. And I say, everyone had your list of 7 foods to avoid, right? My patients were your biggest fans and they're like, yeah, man, this has made a difference in my life. The detox, everything, the progesterone, avoiding gluten, dairy, grains, all that stuff had so impact them. So instead of doing 2 to 3 surgeries a week, I was doing 2 to 3 a year. And so the quality of life of my clients just blossomed. And that really has just transformed the lives now of patients online around the world because we can do this. Every woman has the power to really regain her hormone balance this way.
So what about if you're doing this online, how does someone tell where their hormones are? Do they do some kind of at-home testing or what? How do you do that piece of it?
Well, there's definitely some quizzes. So I have my pelvic health quiz. It's called my Eve questionnaire. Just thinking of Eve as the ultimate feminine, right? Birthing the world. So my Eve questionnaire, because we don't recognize sometimes the subtle symptoms that are affecting our quality of life. And that relates to our pelvic health. So I incorporated those questions into my quiz and you can just assess, okay, what's going on with my body? This is a sign that I need to do something. And it can be as early as your, early mid 30s or, however old you are in your 60, 70, take that quiz because that is a first home test and then repeat it in a month or 2 after continuing to improve your quality of life, taking the next right steps that really empower your health. And I think that makes a difference. So at-home questionnaires, this quiz, the Eve questionnaire is really a key step to kind of figuring out where you are right now.
I love that because I think it is so critical to be able to connect the dots and really understand how you're feeling, especially when you're going through menopause, when things are going to be all over the board, to really be able to understand those symptoms and what's causing them and take part in this care, So I love the quiz piece of it. Now let's kind of shift gears a bit because part of what you've really taken a stand for is libido, sexual health, et cetera, which really is such a big part of this, but people aren't really talking about it. So let's dive into all of the things that can go sideways as this is happening in terms of sexual health and what you can do about
absolutely.
it.
And definitely it's one of those things, the vaginal dryness that can creep up with us. And often we don't even notice it initially, maybe just a slight decrease in lubrication. So we're thinking, okay, we need to get some coconut oil bedside, right? And so that's one of the things, but also early urinary leaking, incontinence, coughing, leaking urine when you cough and sneeze, or you're exercising, you're on the rebounder, you're going for a jog, wearing only black exercise or yoga pants, right? Because you're afraid to leak. And so those little things start to kind of creep up. And then also the vaginal discharge after intercourse, or the urinary tract infection after intercourse. Those are signs and symptoms for pelvic health that can be a hormonal component involved there that we really have to get a hold of right away, because over time, with hot flashes, women, we deal with hot flashes. These fixes that we implement help with hot flashes, but hot flashes will stop on its own, but our pelvic health will continue to deteriorate if we don't do something now to empower it, to fix it. So that's really crucial that women understand that when it comes to pelvic health, when it comes to pleasure and intimacy in our relationship, when it comes to quality of life, so not having issues with incontinence, that's really important and so missed in our society. What the solutions of surgery, laser therapy, those are end of the road solutions. Those should not be first steps, but often they are. And so we need to consider what we can do to empower it. And that is where I've spent my last 10 years really focusing on improving the health of our pelvic floor, the vaginal vulvar area, and go from there.
I know it's you've become a little formulator out there in the world creating products. So let's talk about at my wedding, we had a swag bags, and one of the things in the swag bag was Julva, which was perfect at a wedding. And it was the most talked about item in the swag bag. So let's talk about that and what it is. And I know that everybody listening, you're going to get a free sample. So I'll share with you how you're going to get that in a minute. But let's talk about what this product is, what makes it unique and different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Julva is like my little mastermind creation. And so when I was in practice, and I retired my practice a few years ago, but in practice I would compound vaginal prescriptions to help with vaginal dryness, orgasm, and incontinence, right? So selfishly, I was using my vaginal hormones to have better vaginal surgery outcomes from whatever it was, prolapse or incontinence procedures, whether I was doing a sling. Well, lo and behold, as I got better and better at it, and formulating these, compounds, I would bring my patients back for their pre-op visit and they would no longer have symptoms, right? And so it was like, oh man, I don't get to operate now. And they're like, what? You mean I don't need surgery? I'm like, you don't have symptoms. No, you're on the right track. And so that's when I retired my practice. My patients were like, we want this, and no one will prescribe it for us. And so I was like, well, there's an over-the-counter option that I've been playing with. And so I worked on that for 3 years, creating Julva, which is a combination of plant stem cells from the alpine rose, which you got to love that. When I learned about the alpine rose, it's this rose that blossoms in hard environmental conditions, right? In the ice and snow. I'm like, oh yeah, we women, that's us. We need that. And so the plant stem cells from the anti-rose, which is great anti-aging ingredient, and then DHEA, which is an adrenal hormone that we know about that supports our brain, bone, breast. It's an anti-aging hormone. It starts to decline in our 20s and is affected by stress, etc. So DHEA is really good to help with muscular strength. It's really important to help with anti-aging. Just so that was that necessary ingredient. It was one of the ingredients that I really have used safely in my patients for over 20 years. And then emu oil, coconut oil, shea butter, all those important moisturizers that improve cell health. And so it's been a great little combination. You apply it topically from the clitoris down to the anus, right? The entire vulva. And it just helps that anti-aging area. And it just works to improve the condition. And the clients love it. Like, we increased orgasm, decreased leaking, improved pleasure. My gosh, better intimacy. Oh, it's great when I hear it back. It really is. It's been a blessing all the way around. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It got some high ratings from the
wedding party,
from our wedding reviews too. There you go. The wedding party appreciated it as well. So thank you for that. Let's switch gears and throw it over to you. I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but What's one thing, Anna, that you do every day that you feel like makes the biggest difference in your life?
Well, I definitely, can I do a start and the end of every day that I do that makes the biggest difference? So I start every day with a green drink, of course, right? So I start with my Mighty Maca elixir. So it's my green combination, but with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a little squirt of lemon, and, water, and chug that down in the morning. That just boosts me right away into an alkaline state and just really energizes me. So I start each day with greens. Let's say that, my elixir. And then I end each day with kind of a discernment. This practice I found so empowering because it's opening me up to a higher level of compassion and love that I've ever been in before. So I ask myself these three main questions. It's one, where did I see love today? And where could I have been more loving? And then that just kind of just re-examining my day, like, okay, well, that was a loving situation. And no, I could have been more loving in this way. That just helps the next day. And then the third question I ask myself is, where could I have laughed at myself more today? And that always lightens me up. I'm like, oh man, I should have just laughed off that situation. Or yeah, that was silly. And that just brings another level of joy. So both of those practices really improve oxytocin, and it's an important way to start and end my day.
Oh, you threw the oxytocin word out, so I've got to pull that up because I always wanted you. I wanted you to write the book. Oxytocin. So since you just threw that out there, let's just talk a little bit about some things what oxytocin is and how people can use this to improve their life.
So oxytocin is the really most powerful hormone that I believe is in our body. It's a hormone of love and connection. It's the hormone that we ooze when we have a baby. It's the hormone we ooze after orgasm and during intimacy and connection, hugging, kissing, laughter. All the good things in life are associated with oxytocin. So that's a really powerful hormone. It also opposes cortisol. So oxytocin and cortisol kind of play a love-hate relationship. They work together and then sometimes they work against each other. So sometimes when we're stressed, cortisol's up and oxytocin is down. That's why burnout stress can lead us to feel disconnected. Things that we loved, people that we loved, we no longer feel love for. And that's really important to recognize that that's a symptom of physiologic hormone imbalance. And that's where we really need to take self-care even that much more seriously and put oxytocin in the winner's circle, like really empower the things we love, including playtime, etc. Yeah, it's my favorite hormone. I've got to write that book.
I know. I just, or at least a little small, just a little something about it because it's such a game changer for people when they understand it. And then there's such easy ways to raise it and you feel better so much faster. So I'm always looking for the quick wins. Before we end this, because we're up against the time now, let's share with everybody the cool stuff. Like we always give fun stuff to the community, but you've got super fun stuff. So let's talk about that. And just so everybody knows, we will put this link at JJVirgin.com / let's do Dr. Cabeca, CABECA. So Dr. Cabeca is how you will get show notes for this. And let's talk through the special gifts that you're giving everybody.
Thank you.
Listening.
So we're giving you our Eve quiz. So that's my Eve quiz. And it's so important. I really want everyone to take this quiz. And it's whether you're sexually active or not. This is about our pelvic health or feminine health and gives you an insight into maybe some questions that you wouldn't have associated with hormone balance too when it comes to pelvic health. But it's so important for our longevity and quality of life. So I can't emphasize that enough. It's a fun quiz and you'll get your results right away. So the Eve quiz, number one, and then giving you $10 off Mighty Maca, which is my superfood formulation, over 30 superfoods, just really powerful, helps to improve your DHEA, helps to give you energy, decreases your appetite, all that good stuff. Lots of alkalinizing ingredients. So that's powerful. So we're giving you a code for $10 off Mighty Maca, and then also a free 7-night trial of Julva, which is the feminine cream, the anti-aging feminine cream for your lady bits. So you'll get that for free. Just pay shipping and handling, which we just do at $4.95. So 7 nights of Julva, absolutely free. And look forward to your feedback and comments and really just sending it out to y'all with blessings.
That is awesome. Thank you, honey. I so appreciate you. And thank you so much for being with me today. I got to have some more time with you. So I'm excited that we're going to spend some time in person soon.
I look forward to it. Can't wait to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Now, after the break, we'll be answering a listener's questions. So stay with me.
It's scary, but true. Sugar is hiding everywhere. In diet foods, packaged foods, dressings, and even sugar substitutes. It's not about cutting out all sugar, it's knowing which sugars to choose and which to lose. What if you could drop 7 hidden sugars, lose up to 10 pounds in just 2 weeks? JJVirgin will show you how with a simple 4-step plan to cut cravings and rev up your metabolism to lose fat fast and forever. Visit jjvirgin.com/books and order the Sugar Impact Diet. You can shed up to 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Visit jjvirgin.com/books.
Welcome back. This is the time where I answer a listener's question. And hopefully you've been popping on my lives on Instagram at jj.virgin or Facebook at JJVirginOfficial. What I do is pull questions that I find when I'm on there chatting. And we talk a lot about hormones on Facebook Lives. And recently, Kathy asked me what I did about bioidentical hormones. She wanted to know if I was taking them. So here's my take on menopause, premenopause, postmenopause, menopause, and hormones. Is I personally take and use an estrogen patch. I do a testosterone shot once a month, and I do progesterone 1 week out of the month, and I use some thyroid. Now, I progressed into all of this over time, and I love the fact that Anna is giving all of us her hormone quiz because I'd been teaching doctors for years. I had a course called Overcoming Weight Loss Resistance, so I'd been teaching all of the symptoms of what happens when your hormones drop. So I was very aware of the different hormones and what was going on, and it allowed me to really work with my doctor, Dr. Alan Christensen, on how to get these things balanced because it wasn't, when you do lab tests, you're getting a moment in time with your hormones. So your symptoms really matter here and being able to communicate those well. So the big things that I share with people and is that the first thing you really want to do is make sure that your diet's dialed and you have great blood sugar balance, that you're dealing with stress because your adrenals become even more important as you go through menopause. They're important all the time, but even more important as you start to produce some of your hormones through your adrenal glands. And of course, they're critical for good thyroid function. And you've got to have good thyroid function to have good sex hormone function. So I always have people work there to make sure all of that is dialed because you want those areas as dialed as possible before you start to bring in the bioidentical hormones. And my rule with bioidentical hormones is to use the least amount to get the effect that you can. And the way you do that is by good diet balance, good stress management, and having your thyroid dialed. All right. I look forward to hearing your results when you take Dr. Anna Cabeca's quiz and you start using that free sample of Julva. That's so cool that she gave that to everybody. And just want to do a shout out now. We super appreciate the reviews that we get on iTunes. And if you have not done a review yet, this is a big ask for you to help us out there because it means, not only does it mean a lot to the team, it also helps us a lot in getting the message out on the show. And so any help there, hugely appreciate it. This one was a 5-star review by Watkins Home. And the title said, Interview with Mark Hyman. Love that JJ promotes so many great health experts. I love Dr. Hyman and followed both of you forever. Love this podcast. Thank you. All righty. Yes, we all love Dr. Mark Hyman. He is a longtime friend and amazing, always an amazing interview. So many cool things that he has to share. So I'm so glad that you love that. And keep those reviews coming. And thank you so much for being a part of the community. All righty. See you next time. Bye.
That's all for this episode of the JJVirgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.